Hello listeners, and welcome to Chasm Converses. My guest this week, the one and only Emmy Mack. You're going to absolutely love this conversation. She talks about a moshing assembly in high school, playing in front of thousands of fans with Redhook, meeting influencers and dropping Simpsons quotes, and embracing her inner Lord of the Rings enthusiasm by dressing as an elf and passing notes in Elvish during class. Join us, and let's get conversing. Chasm Converses. Emmy Mack, welcome to Chasm Converses.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you on. I think you've been mentioned about 3 times in 3 separate episodes of this podcast. So the fact that you're actually now here with me is quite surreal.
What are people saying behind my back? Who do I have to shank?
No. Very, very good things. I think it was our good photo man friend, Josh McCauley.
Joshy. Such a legend.
Yeah, Josh. Felicia Desson from Connections. They had a gig recently, actually, which looked really good.
Oh, sick.
And obviously Luke Gagnon a couple of weeks ago because you were on his band single, which was just amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so stoked with how that one turned out. Hey, it's such a tune.
Yeah, I was absolutely bewildered by that. Well, I mean, a lot of people would know you as the frontwoman of the band Redhook, which is obviously just amazing, and we'll get into that obviously a bit later. But I would love to try and just start up talking to you about yourself personally and like what sort of started you on your own kind of musical journey from just starting off wanting to be a musician, getting to where you are now. Like, is being a vocalist and being the front woman of a band something that you always wanted to do, or was it something that you kind of just fell into?
I can pinpoint the exact moment when I decided I wanted to be in a band. I was always one of those nerdy, kind of theater kids. When I was in high school, I was in all of my school musicals, and I was in the vocal ensemble and all that shit. But the moment that I sort of discovered heavy music, and when I say heavy music, I entered the party in I started in the 80s. I wasn't alive in the 80s, but I fell in love with Guns N' Roses and Metallica, and so I was just big into metal and hair metal in particular, Skid Row and
nice,
and all those bands. And
sweet.
At my year 12 high school assembly, I'd chosen to do Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses for my HSC, and me and 3 of my mates from music class got up at our farewell assembly and played it, and impromptu our entire grade just ran out of the seats. It was a seated assembly, and just started moshing in front of the stage. And I'd never experienced anything like that because I'd never even been to a rock show at that point. I think I'd seen the Black Eyed Peas and the Wiggles and stuff. But and I was this is the coolest shit ever. This is the best feeling in the world. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
That is incredible. You had a cool school.
They were way cooler than I gave them credit for.
I played bass for in a band that I was in for 9 years at my assembly, because we started in high school and we played a Coldplay cover, and everyone just stayed put. Got up.
Look, Coldplay does tend to have that effect on people, which is fine.
Exactly, I know. Fine. I think most people didn't really know what they were seeing. They were okay.
You're not gonna start throwing down in the pit and breaking ribs to Coldplay unless there's
No, I mean Violet Hill is a bit more of Violet Hill is a little bit more of a upbeat kind of one, but even so, it does make a lot of sense. But that's incredible. That's so cool. That's just wow. And so I guess from then, did you just sort of start doing the vocal lessons and that sort of stuff, and just sort of start to bridge your way into the scene or find bands and stuff? Or?
I wish I could say that I had vocal lessons. I don't. I'm just kind of. I mean, I probably still need vocal lessons, man. I just kind of learned by doing, and I probably do it wrong. Kind of I kind of feel the Happy Gilmore approach. It's just I do it this way, and it's probably really wrong, and it's really bad technique, but it works for me.
I can relate to that as well. I can relate to that as well. I jumped in and out of like vocal lessons and stuff because I mean, I'm not expensive and all the rest of it as well. But like, yeah, I was always very kind of similar in that respect too, especially with like, screen vocals and channel and all that kind of stuff. That's that's really fascinating because I have a question for you later, which is like probably the one that I've wanted to ask the most, but I can't ask it just yet because I'm not quite there yet.
Ooh.
But either way,
teaser. Okay,
a little teaser. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, like, did you like from that sort of stuff? Did you kind of just start, as I said, like, sort of joining bands and trying to find the band that you would kind of be in, or was like Redhook that first band that you kind of just grew all together with?
Yeah. So Redhook kind of rose from the ashes of my first band. I've only ever been in two, and one of them's Redhook.
Right.
And it kind of also a fun story. But yeah, my first band was an 80s inspired metal band. I just wanted to be Axl Rose.
Yeah.
It was just like Waylon blues and notes that are just like probably way too high for me to
very high pitched.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do it now. Like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Definitely.
But fun. Look, I don't regret it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's who I am, and I still I still have a real soft spot for that kind of music. But 100%. We were very much like that band who just played a lot of shitty pub shows, a lot of just like crappy local shows, and every time, we'd play, it'd be like, fuck, are there actually going to be people there, sort of thing. And essentially never really got anywhere until
okay.
And then it was weird. So so I had, my guitarist was like this crazy shredder, like he was insane. And he moved to Melbourne, and we tried out a few different guitarists to replace him, but nobody could play his shit. So we were like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to have to like evolve out of sheer necessity. And then I started working with my very good friend and producer Stevie Knight, and he was like, yo, hard chat, this shit you're playing isn't very cool. Why don't you just start listening to this other kind of music and just like get some inspiration from that? And then it just and that's how Redhook came to be.
Wow, really? I love the hard chat. That's like a cool way of saying like serious talk.
And I mean, that's not to say that kind of music isn't cool. It's just the way that I was doing it wasn't very cool.
Right.
Pants and the teased hair.
Yeah. And were you guys doing that all in? Because you're from Sydney, aren't you?
I'm from the sunny coast of New South Wales.
Right.
Yeah. But I moved to Sydney around the same time that Redhook kind of started to spawn.
Yeah, right, and sort of become one in itself. That's really cool though, the fact that, only two bands, but then like similar members from those bands and stuff, and you guys would spend like obviously so much time together then from that band leading into Redhook, and then obviously going as far as you have kind of gone. Like you guys would just be like absolute mint together.
Well, so none of the current members of Redhook were in that old band that I'm not going to tell you the name of because I don't want anyone to Google it ever. I think I've scrubbed the internet of all evidence, but you never know. It's the internet.
Absolutely.
But yeah, look, there was a long, like several years, I don't even know how many years, like a solid maybe like 3-4 years in between those two bands. Of just beating my head against a wall, trying to figure it out, going through like having members come in and out like a revolving door who just weren't on the same page, didn't really get it, or like weren't really committed, or like, different issues. And it just felt like it was kind of never going to happen. So when Redhook finally launched, it was just me and Craig, and we didn't have a band. Like we didn't have a full band, and we'd been sitting on our first couple of singles that we released, Midnight on Fire and Paralyzed, specifically. The masters had been sitting in my Dropbox for like at least a year, maybe two.
Ooh,
So we were just like, fuck it. Like it's now or never. Who cares if we can't play shows, or if we get show offers, we'll just get mates to like come play with us. We're just going to release these fucking songs. And we did, and then all of a sudden we got booked on Download Festival UK, and everything just went fucking batshit crazy. So
Yeah, bloody hell. Oh, that's awesome. And especially from the fact of just like sometimes even if it doesn't look like you're ready, you just gotta do it. Like if you don't have all the components of everything that you kind of need, sometimes it's like, well, if it feels like it's right, even if it doesn't look like it's all right, you just gotta do it and just throw it out there and see what happens.
yeah,
And
sometimes you just got to take.
sometimes,
Sometimes you got to take a punt. And like we hustled
yeah,
hard. Like we, with those first couple of singles, like we had no team. It was literally just Craig and I. There was no one else. And like we got
yeah,
advice from all the people that we know in the music industry who are friends with us, who are a lot
yeah,
smarter than us, and just like took their advice and
yeah,
yeah, just worked really, really hard. And then we definitely were playing like shows, or like at least like bigger stages than we probably like. We were kind of shit like when we started out because we
right,
hadn't had that experience. So that's the one, I guess, like the one downside from things
yeah,
going crazy before you kind of like road ready is I think a lot of people
yeah,
probably saw
true.
us in the early days that like, oh, this Redhook band's really hype. Oh, kind of shit live. But we're definitely better now. We're a whole lot better now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you need to like sort of like get used to everybody and like, as you know, sort of find your footing and stuff with those first couple of shows. I mean, every band's almost kind of like that, and then obviously you've got that little like the voice in the back of the head be like, man, I hope some people show up to this show and I'm not
Oh
just
yeah,
playing to like 4 people and the sound guy. That's always a hard thing to go through, but that
totally.
sounds incredible. But I guess, and like, because you guys obviously you've released heaps of songs and that sort of stuff, and when I did live back in Adelaide, I think I saw. Well, I mean, I wasn't able to see you guys in Adelaide, but I'll get to when I first did see you guys. But for now, I know that like when I was in Adelaide, I think you guys were coming around every like 3 months or something because Josh would just be like at another one of your gigs taking photos.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, these guys just keep coming back and traveling around all the rest of it.
Boomerang
Like, are
back.
you just very like, do you just like love that on the road sort of thing, just going to different states, playing shows in different cities and all that kind of stuff?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, touring is so much fun. Even when it's
Mm,
hard, it's still so
yeah,
rewarding. And I just love yeah, any opportunity to like catch up with our fans and yeah, like hang with them.
yeah,
It's yeah, one of my favorite things. It's probably the most rewarding thing about being a musician, I think. Um
yeah,
yeah, we just like, man, we were just like, fuck, like, we just want to make a go of this. So there's ain't no slowing down.
of
Especially like
course,
coming
yeah.
out of COVID. We were just like, fucking nope. All right.
Mm,
All
yeah.
fucking systems go, baby.
Yeah, that's the hardest. I mean, obviously that was like a curse and also a blessing for so many musicians because, like, majority of us had to try and find, a job or just stay in our normal jobs to just make that money. But then, as well as that, and we couldn't obviously find ways to go and do songs and travel and tour to places and play gigs and stuff. But then it did give us a lot of reasons to write songs and a lot of reasons to stay inside and like
Amen,
work on our
brother.
craft and stuff.
Totally. I think we all had a
100%.
bit of an existential crisis doing that during that 2-year abyss
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
COVID.
100%, 100%. I'd love to talk to you about the most recent Download Festival because that is the first time that I saw you guys when you came over here and played Download. I was in the crowd,
Wait, so
and
you're in the UK.
yeah, so I'm in London right now.
Oh, and I was like, why is he talking to me at 8 p.m. at night? Now it all makes sense. All right.
Yeah, no, it's 11. It's 11 o'clock in the morning over
Dude,
here.
so you were at Download.
Yeah. So Download
Oh,
Festival
hell
was the
yeah.
first big festival that I have been to in my life. I've been to, a few in Australia like Unify and Soundwave and stuff like that, but Download was the first big one where it's like, everyone from Europe just comes in
It was
and like the United
motherfucking
Kingdom.
huge.
Yeah,
That's
it was just insane. I've never been around that many people in my life.
I know. Social anxiety.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah, exactly. But you guys played in I can't remember what the stage was called, but it was in the big like sort of tent area.
Yeah, the
And
Avalanche stage.
yes, Avalanche, that was it. Yeah, that's right, absolutely. Yeah. So that was my first sort of time seeing you guys play and it was just like insane. Like it was so good. I could not believe my eyes.
Oh, thank you.
One of the main question I was going to ask you from earlier, which is from right now, which I've written down. I had this question in my mind for ages. I literally was thinking of this while I was watching you.
Oh,
But
I'm
like,
nervous. I'm nervous. What's the
yeah,
question?
no, it's okay. But no, honestly, like you guys have such obviously versatility in your genres, but then on stage, your presence is so just hyper and just like animated, like you're running around, jumping up and down. I saw you do the big knee slide about twice, running to the crowd in the middle of the mosh pits, people are running around, circle
I've
pitting
ruined
around
so
you.
many pairs of pants, man. Not in like in that way. I'm like, look, I'm
I
wearing
would
one
be
now. Like the
surprised. Oh,
knees are all
damn.
ripped from all the knee slides.
Yeah. The big slides. That's insane. Like what? But the thing about it is that even though you guys are doing all that stuff, you still sound just incredible. Like you all just sound still just great. Like there's no like bad notes coming out. There's no like scream that isn't hitting its spot. Like it's all still just going so well and so just like perfectly. Like how did you sort of like? What are the sort of the fundamentals that you have to sort of bring that across during your performances? Like, I mean, I've jumped up and down stage before and done some screams and stuff, and then I'm out of breath and I'm like, oh no, I just missed that last bit. Oh well.
Oh man, well, thank you. First of all, because I'm always worried. Like, I have so many shows where I'm like, oh fuck, I like went too hard and got out of breath and like probably sang like shit.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the performance and it sounded good. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a balance because I feel like this is something that I've thought about a lot and had conversations with like my manager with a lot, because that was one of the things he said to me like when we were first starting out. He's like, I'm like, I love how much effort you put in and like how hard you go on stage, but like the vocals are suffering. Like you like I never sing as well on stage as I do in the studio when I'm just standing still. But the way I see it
Okay.
is like, I mean, I could do a much better vocal performance if I just stood there,
Yeah.
or if I had a little bit of restraint. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like if people want to hear me sing pitch perfect, they can listen to the songs. Like I'm again, like fucking,
Yeah.
my past. We've spoken about my past. I'm
Yes,
just
of
like, I
course.
love, like, it's rock and roll, man. Like, it's, I
Yeah.
love like it when it's a little bit, who gives a fuck if it's a little bit rough around the edges, if the vibe is
Yeah.
there, if you're creating an experience for people. And I really believe that, like, with all of Redhook shows, like, I'll be mortified if we played a show and someone walked away going, well, that was boring, or like, you
Yeah.
know, it's just like you want to give people something more than what they get from the record. You want to give them an experience. You want to give them something that they can watch or something that they can participate in and feel a part of.
100%.
So I choose to value that over
Yeah.
having perfect vocals. But
That's
to answer your
wonderful.
question, though, I went off on a
Mhm.
massive tangent. I'm sorry, I've wasted a bunch of time ranting. I do
That's still an amazing answer.
I'm glad. But yeah, I think honestly, like it's really just practice.
Yeah.
Cliche answer, but
Mm.
just because I'm so used to it now, and because we've been on the road so much.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not like a fitness freak or anything. I don't like gym
Mm.
very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just done, like smashed a set so many times and just had to kind of find a way to still be able to sing and still like go as hard as I want to. And I'm a bit more
Yeah.
restrained than I used to be. Like I've been exercising a level
Right.
of restraint, so still
Okay.
finding the sweet spot. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful answer, honestly. And like even with the live show stuff, like I couldn't agree more. Like, if someone wants to hear you sound absolutely perfect and whatever, like that's what the recordings are for. You touch those vocals up and all the rest of it. If you go to like a live show,
Well done, baby.
that like that like raw energy is like that's what a lot of people sort of get around and what they really sort of they feed off that, and it becomes that experience, especially for us as musicians. I mean, my touring life is very, very minuscule to point like maybe 5 or 6 times in Melbourne, once in Sydney, very, very small.
Don't
But then
talk
like,
yourself down, man.
no,
More than
but even
most
so,
people.
I can, but even so, I can agree that like when it comes to performing on stage, like you want to give people as much as you can because most of the time you've been sitting in a car for the entire day. Or you've been flying and sitting down. So it's like, well, for the hour or the 30 minutes of a set that I've got, I may as well be like using as much energy as I can because I haven't really used any of it all day. So
That's it. Cardio, baby. Some people go to the gym. We just do a half-hour set.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, you know what? I would love to do a science experiment where we measure like how much someone sweats, how much the average person sweats in the gym versus how much they sweat on stage, especially if they're in a room that isn't aircon.
Oh yeah, for damn sure.
I'm
Absolutely.
interested.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I would love to put that experiment on in the Crown and Anchor in Adelaide on like a 40-degree day. I did
Frank is
that once.
the perfect venue to
Yeah,
test this theory.
that was a sweaty show. That was like a couple of years ago, but that was like, oh man, I felt so gross.
Oh, yeah, you're like, I need like 10 showers, hose me the fuck down.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Another thing I'd love to say, like, mention about Download. Obviously, like, it was my first time seeing a massive festival away from Australia in another country, and the thing that I absolutely loved. I mean, there could be more Australian bands there than what I saw, but seeing you guys, Stand Atlantic, and Polaris, and just seeing the amount of people that went and saw all of your sets, and like just knew all the words to your songs was just it just made me so proud. I was like, man, you guys, the three of you guys. I mean, as I said, there may have been other bands from Australia too who played that show that I may not have seen, but the fact that you can go to another country on the other side of the world, like 27-hour flight from where like we respectively live, like to see all these people singing your songs and getting down to your music just must make like give you one of the greatest feelings in the world about being a musician. Sure.
Like without a doubt, like that show was just insane. It was one of my favorite shows ever. It was a whirlwind. It was a fucking whirlwind, but we went out there and like the size of the crowd, like there were people like spilling outside that tent. It was insane.
Yeah.
And much the same with like Stat and Polaris. It's just it's so cool. And it does kind of annoy me a little bit in the sense that like overseas there's so much appreciation for all the talent coming out of Australia right now. Like so many like of the interviews that I did when I was over there, people were like, what's in the water in Australia? Like there's so many amazing bands. And I know that people in our community and our scene like know what the fuck is up and like appreciate it. But it's kind of annoying that so much of the rest of the country just has no idea that there are all these amazing artists like Polaris and Stat who are just, like conquering the world. And
yeah, I know it's one of those things where it's like if you are like a younger Australian band or even just an Australian band in general, and you want to just you want to explore and go out and play to people all over the world, like it seems like such a limitable thing to do is like go to the UK and play a show or play things or whatever. But the thing is that those people are so respectable to bands that are good, and as you say, the really good talent coming out of it, that like they will become fans, like they will be hooked on you if you are good. So it's like it might cost you all the money in the world, but at the end of the day, you would if you play a good show with some good bands to a lot of people, there's a very good chance that all those people will like listen to your stuff, follow your page, and you're gonna have like a reason to go back and play for them again. And they'll tell their friends, like they will word of mouth tell everybody about you.
Yeah, 100%. Word of mouth do still be a real thing. It's so true. And what was I going to say? No, I've forgotten. It was probably just another rant.
Possibly another rant. I'm sure it'll come back. If it does come back, interrupt me and start. Okay. That'd be good. I would love to ask you as well, like, I mean, obviously from Download, even just playing shows and all the rest of it, because, you guys are at a point now, as you say, you're playing in front of so many, like, thousands of people and all that sort of stuff, going into new cities and new countries, playing to new people every single day. Can you really sort of, like, do you really feel that appreciation that you're at that level now where this is actually happening? You can play to new people every day, and they especially people who don't know who you are, and then they can just listen to your music, become fans, and you get that appreciation from them to yourself. Like, can you kind of really be in that moment these days now to sort of have that effect on everybody?
Oh, I mean, I hope so. And that's something that, like, especially with the live show, that's something that we kind of pride ourselves on, I guess, a little bit, or something that we aim for is like, for instance, like past 3 months, like we went on tour supporting the Smashing Pumpkins, and then we went on tour supporting Stand Atlantic, two very, very vastly different bands. But I feel like Redhook occupies this kind of unique space in, I guess, the heavy music spectrum, where because our songs are so, like, we do have such a unique spread of, like, a widespread of sounds. You can put us in front of like these different bands, sort of crowds, and we can hopefully, I think, like convert fans.
Absolutely.
That's I mean, like, that's the goal anyway. That's what we hope to do.
Have you had some like real nice experiences in like, as you said, opening for Smashing Pumpkins, like meeting some of your like favorite musicians that you like have like, influenced you growing up? Like, have you had like some of those really cool moments?
Yeah. I don't have
Maybe.
time to tell you this story. It's I was so excited to meet Billy Corgan.
Right.
And he was lovely. He was so, so nice. But then I
Yeah.
think I accidentally like might have offended him or like
Oh
started
no.
to speak.
Right.
Because so what happened was like his social media person snapped a photo. We were talking to him and like she
Yeah.
snapped a photo, so we like got a photo.
Sweet.
And then I posted it on my Instagram being like, Emmy Mack smiling politely, because it's like a Simpsons
Yeah.
reference. And
Yeah, that's it.
my whole, like, if you know me, like 90% of the things I say are Simpsons quotes. So I
Oh,
was like,
we would get on we would get on so well. That's
but he
what the
like,
majority of me and my friends talk about as well.
oh, amazing. Amazing. I think, tell me like you grew up in the like early 2000s without telling me.
Yeah, I know, no. And that's like Homer Police is like one of my favorite like ones as well. When he's got the cannonballs in the chest. Like, yeah,
Oh,
that's one
dude,
of my favorites.
it's iconic. So like, yeah, and so this post that I did, like someone screenshotted it and put it on a Simpsons meme page on Facebook, and so it like blew
Oh.
up. And then anyway, then a couple of like days later, someone tags me in this video, and it's Billy Corgan on a talk show, and he's talking about meeting me, and he's saying
shit.
like yeah, I'm like this girl, and she posted a photo with the Simpsons quote, and I just didn't know if it was a diss. Like, I feel like I shouldn't be putting on an American accent because he's going to think that I'm making fun of him again, but I'm not. But he was like,
it's hard though when you're trying to embody the person.
I know,
I do that too.
I'm just getting character. But he did it. He was like, basically, I don't know if this is a diss. Are you excited to meet me because I'm Billy Corgan or because I'm on The Simpsons? And I was like, come on, Billy, man. Like, obviously, I mean, you're an icon,
Exactly.
one of the most iconic songwriters of all time. Like, I was so
100%.
excited to meet him, but it was just like the perfect opportunity to make a really cool Simpsons quote. Like,
Yes. It was not a diss, Billy Corgan. If you're listening, it was not a diss. 100%, we love you.
Billy, I'm sorry. I'd probably do it again. It was worth it.
100%. No, I love that whole, like, yeah, as I said, me and my brother, we grew up on The Simpsons heaps. I think my favorite thing from that one is, like, I think, was it Peter Frampton or who's got, like, his pedals and he's like, do you feel... Do you feel... Oh, come on, do you feel...
Yeah.
That's my favorite
Oh my
thing.
God. I was the
Actually,
one with it.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm not gonna take this down a Simpsons quoting rabbit hole because we'll be here all night.
No. I will say that there is one more thing that I was going to throw in because I did realize this. So, like, me and my brother, I mean, my brother's actually a massive fan of yours as well, and he actually has a Lord of the Rings tattoo on his chest, which says, I think it's the Bilbo quote of those who wander aren't always lost, or something of that nature. And apparently, you're a really big Lord of the Rings fan.
Oh, massive nerd. I went to my high school formal, dressed as an elf. So
Wow,
and
really?
my best friend and I taught each other like the Elvish alphabet, and we would write notes to each other in Elvish in class. So if the teacher snatched it and went to read it out loud, they couldn't read shit. I'm a virgin.
Right.
I don't know what sex is. I love Lord of the Rings is badass. Like, it's so good. Anyone who disagrees is lying.
No. I mean, Return of the King came on the TV the other day, and I was going to watch Notting Hill for the 6th time, but then I thought I might just watch 30 minutes or so of Return of the King, and then I'll watch that. But you can't just watch 30 minutes of Return of the King. Like, once you're in that world, you can't get out of that world. You got to go through to the end.
Exactly, dude. I had all of the extended edition box sets, and I watched all the special features, all 18 hours of them.
That's incredible.
I didn't have many friends growing up.
No, maybe not.
No, I did. And they were all nerds like me.
I mean, whenever I get the chance to go to New Zealand to see my dad's family or whatever, I will always watch Lord of the Rings on the plane because you're almost guaranteed to watch Lord of the Rings and then be in New Zealand when that movie finishes. So,
But it's also get you so hyped.
Exactly.
Watching Die Hard or Home Alone on Christmas Eve, gets in the
Yeah,
spirit.
100%. No, I definitely understand that for sure. Okay, I think we'll finish up with obviously, you guys put out a new album, Postcards from the Living Hell, which is sick. It was on like the ARIA charts, number 10 or something. That's insane.
I know, we like shut our
Wow.
pants. It was crazy because like we're completely independent, so we weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And I guess
No,
it's just
no.
a testament to how freaking rad all our fans are. They bought the album and they liked it.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's so cool that like, it's getting so much like attention, so many plays and stuff. And even like I was looking at some of the music videos and stuff the other day. Like when you're a musician, you're growing up and you have songs and stuff, we always have ideas of like, things to put with our music to sort of like paint that picture of what we see it as and all the rest of it. How do you feel that you're like now at the point where you can really go in depth with that creative process of your music videos and really kind of bring out what you really want people to sort of see from it?
Yeah, funny question. Because Redhook are notorious among the videographer industry for being very disorganized, and so many of our music videos are literally shot like the week before the song comes out, and
Right.
like on for minimum budget, and then me just like felt like I've got like an insanely talented mate who's a great videographer, and
Right.
he just helps me out. He's like, shout out Kim, he's an absolute legend. But he gets very
Yeah.
stressed because I always like hit him up last minute. I'm like, yo, yeah, we're putting this song out in like 2
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
Can we do a music
Can you give me
video?
like a really quick music video like now?
Yeah, but like like Imposter wasn't like that, and there's been a few videos that we've done that have been like a lot. We have been like a lot more organized for, which is lovely
Right.
and really nice. And it's my New Year's resolution, more than halfway through 2023,
Yeah.
to do that from now on. Be very organized.
Yeah. Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
incredible.
it's great. It's great. I love I wish that we could do videos for like all our singles, and maybe we will. I don't know. Let's see what the
Yeah,
feedback is
no,
like.
100%. Well, this has been absolutely amazing, Emmy. Again, I cannot thank you enough for like taking the time to chat to me today about all this sort of stuff. This is probably, I mean, I enjoy all the conversations I have with all my guests, but this has by far been one of my absolute favorites. Like, I haven't even
Peter,
seen
my
the time
freaking
go
heart.
past. the
Oh,
time
thank you.
just come up on the screen.
Thank you for listening to me ramble for like 40 minutes.
No, it's been great. I've absolutely enjoyed it. No, thank you
Thanks,
so much.
legends. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning into the episode this week. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Emmy and myself. The full-length episode of this will be available to watch on YouTube in the coming days. So subscribe to @ThisIsChasm and be sure not to miss that. And check out Redhook as they slowly take over music scenes all over the world. Listen to their new album, Postcards from the Living Hell. As for me, please leave a rating and or review for the show wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'll see you next week for a new episode with a new guest here on Chasm Converses.